All right. Shalom. Before I begin, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Al-Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash, and the honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone, and Shalom to the I give teaching his word. Thought the four corners and true sincerity. I'm back from the lesson. The sprint prayer, Ba'ashem, Al-Shai. All right. One is lesson is edifying us to the elect. The true name of God is Yahweh, which means he is or he exists. All right. The true name of his son, who the world calls Jesus, is Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew. Okay, which means he saves. All right, or he delivers. Because Yahweh is going to send Yahweh Shai to deliver us from four corners, the earth. All right. Let's talk about the elect. The elect are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, scattered abroad. Okay, and the Israelites are the true chosen. All right, it's not them JJs in the land right now. That's at war, right? That's at war now with Iran. Okay, those are not the true people. Maybe Israelites there, but the ones that proclaim to be the Jews in that land now, those are not the people. Okay, it's the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. That being the intro, you see it on the screen. All right, with Donald Trump, it says we have now completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for our attention. Thank you for your attention to this matter, right? So, it's no the devil, all right, being prideful, all right, saying now is the time for peace. But that is not up to you, all right? Because things are only going to escalate more and more, all right, according to prophecy. All right, whatever these devils try to do to try to avoid World War III, it's inevitable. We're in World War III now, okay? That's the time that we're in, all right? Nation rising up against nation, okay? You can't stop what's to come. This is Revelation 9. And 12, it says one war was past, and behold, there come 2 wars more hereafter. So we have World War I, World War II, and World War III. We're in World War III now. Okay, and they start talking about World War III. We're in World War III now. All right. And you prepare the way for the kings of the east. The Euphrates River is drying up. All right. So there is no time for peace. All right. The only time of peace is going to be when Yahushua returns. Okay. So these nations going at it with each other is only going to increase, all right, till they utterly destroy each other with nuclear missiles, all right? But before that happens, because we understand prophecy, the MOTB, all right, needs to get implemented, all right? Then, World War III is going to, the nukes is going to be shot off, all right? But Trump's saying now's the time for peace. We're not in a time of peace, okay? Because, even the scriptures, tell us, when they shall say peace and safety, right? In 1 Thessalonians 5:3. I'm going to start at 1. It says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. All right, so we already know. Why? Because we got the understanding, all right, of the scriptures. We have our apostles and elders telling us, all right? We've been put in the know, so we know how the day of the Lord is going to go, and we know how things are going to escalate. All right, people may be reading us like, yeah, we striked Iran. All right, now we don't gotta worry about them no more. It just bombed, 3 major nuclear sites. Okay, there's even a video as well. Okay, and you can see it. All right, and who's to say that? Because that one of them sites, Fordow, all right, it's, meters deep, not 80 to 90 meters deep. Okay. All right. So even if they destroyed those 3 nuclear sites, all right, the Lord is still gonna cause Iran and Russia and China, all right, Korea to shoot nukes at America. All right. It says, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So when they think it's peace, like Trump is saying, now is the time for peace. There will never be peace with this devil in power, all right? So him saying now's the time for peace, no. This is not the time of peace. This is the time of war. Okay, for war. There will never be peace unless Esau Edom is taken out of power once again. Okay, but we already know. Even though Trump says now the time to peace, it's not. All right, you know what's going into that camp. All right, the Lord still gotta gather these nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is in the Middle East. Okay, what for war? You know, Joel 3 and 2. Well, 1, for behold, in those days and in that time when I are bringing again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, meaning the Lord's going to deliver us out of our captivity and restore, all right, you know, Israel. You know, that's why it says Judah and Jerusalem, you know, representing, you know, northern and southern kingdom. All right, you know, restoring us as a nation, taking us out of captivity. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. So the Lord still got to gather those nations in the Middle East, okay, to go at war with each other. So there is no time of peace coming, all right, at least for Esau, Edom, and these heathens, all right, and even 2/3 of our people. Because people are proud, all right, you know, because when you go on social media, you know, they trying to talk about America, we have the strongest army. But, you know, this is the will of the Lord, all right, is to destroy America. Okay? So even though, you know, America has the strongest military it does, that's why the Lord's going to use them nukes. Okay? The Lord got 200 million, all right, warheads. So what if they say they destroyed, you know, 3 nuclear sites? You still got Russia, all right? So Russia's still in the picture. China's still in the picture. Korea's still in the picture. All right, so, you know, there'll never be a so-called, you know, time of peace. You know, really, you just, you know, amping it up. Okay? Because when you read Ezekiel 38, it talks about how the Lord's going to put hooks. Well, I'm going to get it. All right? In Ezekiel 38, Russia is still a threat. You know, Russia is still a threat. It's Ezekiel 38:1. And the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tabal, and prophesy against him. You know, Gog and Magog represent Russia today because they were in that land. All right. It says, and say, thus said the Lord Yahweh, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tabal. So even though the Lord is against Russia, they're still going to be used, all right, to shoot nuclear missiles, all right, to you know, to America. Okay. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. Even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Okay, so even though Trump is saying it's a time of peace, Lord is still going to cause Russia to go to war with America. Okay. You know, it's just a precept to back it up. In Jeremiah 51:28, it says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. The Medes represent Russia. It says, the cabinets thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon. Babylon representing America, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. So America is still going to be made desolate. Even though you have Trump saying now is the time for peace, America is still going to be made desolate. Okay? And Iran is still going to be used to shoot nukes against this place. All right? Because again, it's in the scriptures. No matter what these devils say, all right, the scriptures is always going to overpower whatever, you know, they say is going to happen. You have Jeremiah 50:9 says, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, represent America, an assembly of great nations from the north country. What north country? You know, talking about Russia again. Okay, Russia, you know, Iran is going to be used as well. All right, China. Okay, and also even American allies are going to end up shooting, all right, nuclear missiles, all right, to America. And they shall set themselves in array against her, and from thence she shall be taken. Their arrow shall be as of a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain. And why is none going to return in vain? It's because it's Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai, all right, causing, all right, the nukes to be shot off. The Spirit of the Lord is going to be upon the nukes. Okay? And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoiler shall be satisfied, saith the Lord Yahweh. You know, Chaldea could represent America as well. Okay, it says, saith the Lord Yahweh. And the Lord's, his word will not return unto him void. This is prophecy. Okay, this is prophecy. All right, you see, you got Americans, they probably, rejoicing. Now we took out Iran 3 nuclear sites. Okay, America's still going to get destroyed. All right. That don't mean that the threats are all gone and away. Okay, that don't mean you could party up and, go back to your lives and, we're not worried about Iran anymore. So let's say Iran is not in the picture. We still got Russia. All right, we still got Russia. All right. I want to see if I want to get something else. There's a lot in the scripture in this chapter. I could go skip to the 21st verse. It says, go up against the land of Maritime, even against Hit. Maritime, represent, America as well, because you go into that word. Where's that? It says double rebellion, another name for Babylon. You see that? It says double bitterness. All right, and America is very rebellious, or has a very rebellious spirit. All right. So what? They have the strongest military. So what? Trump says it's time for peace. All right? It's not just nations taking out America. It's Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai, the God of the Bible. All right, and you could choose to believe or not. It doesn't matter. Prophecy will still come to pass. All right, whether the people believe it or not. All right, we may be the bearer of bad news, but this is good news. All right, this is great, amazing news. All right, and don't get dismayed, or those that's listening, because Trump said, all right, that it's a time for, don't get dismayed. All right, because they could say whatever they want. Again, the word of the Lord will be done. All right, this is Isaiah, just a quick Isaiah 61:1. It says, the Spirit of the Lord Yahweh is upon me, because the Lord Yahweh had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. Who the meek? The elect. All right, He has sent me up to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. So right, we still living in those times. All right, the word is being preached. Okay. We still will get out of Babylon, whatever these devils try to say. All right, because they proud. Lord still gonna destroy America. It says to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord Yahweh, and the day of vengeance of our power, to comfort all that mourn. All right, that's what we set out to do. To comfort those that mourn, who are the ones truly mourning. All right, the elect, the Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai. Okay, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. The Lord is going to return. All right. The Lord's going to have his vengeance. All right. America will not continue to keep on ruling. Or Esau is not going to continue to keep on ruling. Okay. This is Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. That is appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. So, Esau has an expiration date for his kingdom to fall. All right, even though they're the superpower of the earth, they're still gonna get destroyed. Because even the scriptures say, "Our house, the hammer of the earth, taken down." Right, and Jeremiah 50, even I believe it says it as well. All right, see that Jeremiah 50 and 23. I'm gonna just continue reading from 21. It says, "The sound of battle is in the land, and of a great destruction." Right, a great destruction is coming. All right, to America. And how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Because it's the Yahweh Ba'ashem Al-Shai that's, at work. Okay? It's the scripture that, it's the Lord, Salakia, that set up kings, and take it down. Right? Deuteronomy 20, not 7. It's not 7. It's laggy. Is it, no, it's not 7. Deuteronomy 2 and start 20. Daniel answered and said, "Blessed be the name of the Most High forever and ever. Yahweh Bashim El Shai. For wisdom and might are His, and He changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding." That's the Lord, take out kings and set up kings. You know, Esau is a king right now. He's in rulership, and the Lord's gonna be the one to take him down. All right. You know, don't think we just talking. All right, we backing it up with the scriptures. All right, because everything that you see that's going on right now is exactly going according, to prophecy. Okay, how Iran and Israel, is going at it, and the United States is going at it, and Iran and China. Well, Iran is backed by Russia and China. Okay, so this can go multiple, ways. Don't just think it's just dying down. Because again, we still in a time of war. Okay. With that little one's quick lesson was edifying. I want to give our praises to Yahweh, by Hashem El Shai, by Hashem Kakwadash, and then my honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, and shalom to the Akim teaching this word throughout the four corners and true sincerity. Shalom.